Pilot Handbook 1.6 Introduction to Flying. Let's dive into the requirements for a student pilot's solo flight. Once a student pilot has gained sufficient training and experience, a certified flight instructor can endorse their logbook, granting authorization for limited solo flights in a specific type of aircraft. It's important to note that during solo flights, a student pilot cannot carry passengers, engage in business-related flights, or operate an aircraft beyond the endorsements provided by the flight instructor. To qualify for a student pilot certificate, there's no minimum aeronautical knowledge or experience requirement. However, the applicant must be at least 16 years old, or 14 for glider or balloon pilots, and possess the ability to read, speak, write, and understand English. Despite this, there are specific aeronautical knowledge and experience requirements for student pilots to embark on solo flights. Now, let's discuss the path to becoming a pilot. The course of instruction depends on the type of certificate sought, whether it's recreational, private, or sport pilot. The training involves both ground and flight components to acquire the necessary knowledge and skills for safe and efficient piloting. Detailed information about eligibility, aeronautical knowledge, proficiency, and aeronautical requirements can be found in 14 CFR Part 61. Knowledge-based training is obtained through Federal Aviation Administration handbooks, textbooks, and other training materials. These resources are available in print form and online. The certified flight instructor may use commercial publications as study materials, especially for aircraft categories where government materials are limited. It's crucial for a student pilot to follow the flight instructor's guidance on what and when to study, maintaining a well-organized study program to succeed in the knowledge test. In addition to aeronautical knowledge, a student pilot is required to gain proficiency in flight maneuvers. The certificated flight instructor introduces, demonstrates, talks through, and supervises the student pilot in practicing maneuvers. Once proficiency is demonstrated, the certificated flight instructor authorizes the student pilot to practice the maneuver solo. Upon successfully showcasing proficiency in knowledge areas, flight maneuvers, and meeting required flight hours, the certificated flight instructor endorses the student pilot's logbook. This endorsement allows the student pilot to take both the written and practical tests for pilot certification. Now, let's explore the testing phase. The knowledge test, conducted on a computer, is an essential part of obtaining pilot certification. It consists of objective, multiple-choice questions. This method ensures efficiency in testing, saving time for the applicant and providing a standardized grading process. Federal Aviation Administration Airmen Knowledge Test Guides, available online, offer comprehensive information on the knowledge test process for various pilot certificates. Now, let's explore the timing for taking the knowledge test. The Federal Aviation Administration recommends that the knowledge test be taken after initiating the flight portion of training, preferably following the completion of a solo cross-country flight. This approach makes the knowledge test more meaningful, leveraging the operational knowledge gained during solo flights. The certified flight instructor is the most suitable person to assess when the applicant is ready for the knowledge test. Moving on to the practical test, the Federal Aviation Administration has introduced the Practical Test Standards, PTS, for pilot certificates and ratings. However, in 2015, the Federal Aviation Administration began transitioning to the Airmen Certification Standards, ACS, representing an enhanced version of the PTS. The ACS includes task-specific knowledge and risk management elements for each area of operation and task, providing an integrated presentation of knowledge, skills, and risk management for certification. Over time, the ACS will replace the PTS for evaluating and certifying pilots. Practical tests are administered by Federal Aviation Administration Aviation Safety Inspectors, ASIs, and designated pilot examiners, DPEs. The areas of operation and required tasks are outlined in 14 CFR Part 61, and the practical test must adhere to the appropriate PTS or ACS. Pilots should familiarize themselves with the relevant testing documents during their training. It's essential to note that the PTS is a testing document, not a training syllabus. Flight instructors are responsible for training pilots to meet acceptable standards. Reference documents such as Federal Aviation Administration handbooks and this guide provide information on how to perform maneuvers and procedures. The PTS outlines flight proficiency maneuvers categorized as areas of operation. These cover pre-flight preparation to post-flight procedures, with each area including specific tasks related to knowledge areas, flight procedures, and flight maneuvers. The candidate must demonstrate proficiency in all tasks for the issuance of pilot certificates. Concerning the practical test, 14 CFR Part 61 sets ground school and flight experience requirements, but the certificated flight instructors determines when an applicant is qualified. A practice practical test is a crucial step in the flight training process. During this, the applicant must present documentation, including Federal Aviation Administration Form 8710-1, or 8710.11 for sport pilot applicants, an Airman Knowledge Test Report, medical and pilot certificates, logbooks, and other relevant certificates. The applicant is also required to provide an airworthy aircraft with necessary equipment, along with required documentation such as the aircraft's registration certificate, airworthiness certificate, operating limitations, equipment list, weight and balance data, maintenance records, and applicable airworthiness directives, ADS. For a detailed explanation of required maneuvers and performance standards, applicants can refer to the PTS or ACTs specific to their type of certification and aircraft. These standards are available for download from the Federal Aviation Administration website or can be purchased from authorized sources. Most fixed-base operators and flight schools carry a variety of government publications and charts, as well as commercially published materials. Now, let's delve into the administration of the Federal Aviation Administration practical test. Typically, practical tests are conducted by designated pilot examiners, DPEs, due to the varied responsibilities of Flight Standards District Offices, FSDOs. To schedule the practical test, applicants should make an appointment with a DPE to avoid conflicts and optimize time. A list of examiner names is available from the local FSDO. While DPEs may charge a reasonable fee, Federal Aviation Administration inspectors conduct practical tests without any charge. Certificated flight instructors play a pivotal role in aviation safety. To become a CFI, a pilot must meet the provisions outlined in 14 CFR Part 61. The certificated flight instructors holds full responsibility for student flight training in knowledge areas, and imparting skills necessary for safe piloting. A structured training program with a formal course syllabus is vital for effective flight training. Clear communication about the course of training, briefing, and debriefing before and after each lesson contributes to comprehensive learning. The use of scenario-based training, presenting realistic flight scenarios, is now a preferred method, emphasizing correct techniques and procedures from the beginning. A flight instructor acts as a role model for students, influencing their flying habits and safety practices. The goal is to train the total pilot, emphasizing safety practices and adherence to regulations during all flight operations. Flight instructors guide students in developing proper flying habits and promptly addressing any deficiencies in maneuvers or techniques. Designated pilot examiners, DPEs, hold a significant role in the Federal Aviation Administration's mission of promoting aviation safety by administering practical tests. While the Federal Aviation Administration delegates certain responsibilities to DPEs, ensuring air travel safety remains a top priority. DPEs are appointed individuals meeting specific qualifications, including technical expertise, relevant ratings, currency, and a current flight instructor certificate. They charge a reasonable fee for their services, and their authority is typically limited to accepting applications and conducting practical tests for specific pilot certificates and ratings. Most Federal Aviation Administration practical tests at private and commercial pilot levels are administered by DPEs. The Federal Aviation Administration expects DPEs to maintain professionalism, integrity, and adherence to Federal Aviation Administration policies and procedures. DPEs are required to administer practical tests with the same degree of professionalism, methods, procedures, and standards as Federal Aviation Administration aviation safety inspectors, ASIs. To summarize, the Federal Aviation Administration, entering its second century of civil aviation, leverages technology like the Global Positioning System, GPS, and the Internet to enhance aviation safety. Safety remains a learned behavior, and the Federal Aviation Administration emphasizes instilling safe flying habits, relying heavily on the guidance and instruction provided by flight instructors. The Federal Aviation Administration offers various courses and resources online to promote aviation safety, emphasizing operational safety practices and scenario-based training. These practices include collision avoidance, proper scanning techniques, checklist usage, runway incursion avoidance, positive transfer of controls, and effective workload management. Additionally, decision-making methods such as aeronautical decision-making, ADM, risk management, and crew resource management, CRM, play crucial roles in ensuring safe flight.